It's finally happening. Your little one is growing up and heading off to college. I know that you've probably had a mixture of feelings, whether it is excitement, nervousness, are they going to succeed? Are they ready? I'm not sure. All of these different thoughts that are going through your head as a parent. And I just want to let you know, first off, that that's totally normal. Now, I also know that as a parent, you want to do everything you can to help them succeed. The thing is, there are a few things that many parents tend to do, whether it's intentionally or not, that can actually hinder them from success. So in today's video, I want to cover 5 things that every parent should avoid doing when it comes to sending off their student to college. Now, make sure you hit subscribe. This is a little off topic for us, but it does tie into paying for college because the more successful your student is, the better their college experience is, typically the less debt they'll need to pay for it. So ultimately, we teach families how to avoid student loan debt when it comes to paying for college. Hey there, my name is Jocelyn Pearson, founder of the Scholarship System and Debt-Free Degree Lab, and that's what we do. So we have tons of different strategies when it comes to paying for school, and while this might not seem directly aligned, it actually does correlate as well. So make sure you hit subscribe because if you want tips to avoid that student loan debt, maybe you've already had to borrow some of it with your students and you want to replace it with debt-free money, you're in the right place. So again, make sure you hit subscribe. Now, like I mentioned, sending off your child to college can be a roller coaster of emotions, whether it's your first student going or your last child, or maybe your only one or anything in between. No matter what, it is always an adventure. Now, again, one thing you don't want to have to worry about is that paying for college aspect. So I do want to let you know that you can sign up for our free webinar. It's the 6 steps to securing scholarships for college quickly, and you can find a link to that in the description. Now, the biggest thing to take away is that your child is growing up. They are becoming their own person, and you have to let that happen. So first, before I get into my list of 5 things that every parent should avoid doing, I want you to comment below and let me know how you feel about sending off your child to college. Are you nervous? Are you scared? Are you hesitant? Are you excited? And if so, let us know what is it that you're most worried about in the comments, and maybe we'll have some tips that we can share with you back. Okay, so let's dive into the 5 things that parents should never do as the caregiver of a college student. The first one is one that we cover a lot, and that is please do not do the work for them. Whether it comes to term papers, class projects, whatever it is. I'll never forget my father. He tried helping one of my siblings with their math, and math is not his strength, we'll say. And actually, it was funny because once the paper came back, they actually saw that all the correct answers were erased and replaced, and the teacher was like, "I'm not sure what happened, but the correct answers were beneath." And here it was my sister's answers, and he thought they were wrong, and he switched them out. So after that, we all swore off of letting Dad do our homework. Now, I don't think, part of me almost wonders if he did it on purpose that we'd stopped asking him. But that said, teachers often know, professors know, and actually I'm also going to let you know a little secret, scholarships know as well. So that said, we do not want to do the work for your student. Let them take the responsibility for their coursework, for their scholarship essays, whatever it is they have to do. If they have an unfair grade, let them figure it out. Let them do the communication. You can help them talk through how they can approach the professor, how they can speak to them, what they can write in the email, but ultimately try to let them do all of it on their own. They're going to have to eventually. So you can also, when it comes to studying, you can support them with flashcards. You can help them study in that way. You can quiz them after the fact. But again, you don't want to do the work for them. And also going along with this, you also don't want to solve all their problems for them, right? For example, a bad roommate, or if they're waitlisted, or if they need to figure out an extra credit project. You can listen, you can offer guidance, but again, don't do it for them. So, and that also, again, ties back to that scholarship approach. Okay, let's talk about the second one. And this one is a big one that affects many students. It seems like the right thing to do up front, but long term, it can have some serious not just mental and emotional complications and challenges, but financial as well. And that is choosing their major or their career path for them. 9 times out of 10, it does not work. The student might originally sign up for what you're pushing, but then they end up changing it, and then they lose credit hours, or they are forced into a career path at a certain school, and so then they end up transferring, and then they lose a whole semester or a school year of credit hours. 9 times out of 10, it just doesn't work. I know that parents mean well because you're trying to get them into a career path that actually has potential, or maybe it's something that's run in the family and it's just something that we always do. But again, most of the time, this does not work out unless your student truly wants to do that. So instead, what you can do is you can help them explore their interests, but not force them into a career path. So maybe you are a doctor and you want your student to be a doctor. Set them up with shadowing. Maybe they don't want to do your specific expertise, your specialty, but maybe a friend is in another department and they can shadow them. So helping them explore and truly decide for themselves, finding mentors, shadowing opportunities, internships. They might need to take a variety of classes in order to find their passion, but the good news is this is not unique. They might switch majors, and that is okay. Most students switch majors. In fact, that's why a lot of scholarships won't specifically state a major, or they understand if a student changes it, because it really is the majority that do change their major or add on more, add on a minor, whatever it is. Now, inside Debt Free Degree Lab, our monthly membership, we actually have lessons on helping choose the major, because one thing that we found is if we can get it correct, if we can do it well, or at least be in the right department from the beginning, we can avoid tacking on extra semesters because of transferring in and out of majors or transferring in and out of schools. Okay, let's get into the third one. And this one I think is something that's a little subconscious. And that is forcing your college experience on them, or forcing the college experience you wish you had on them. We've all heard of the parents that maybe they were a cheerleader, or maybe they were the football player, or maybe they wish they didn't make the team. And so they're really driving their student to do that. So many times, because of this, students will end up resenting whatever it is that a parent is pushing them towards. And your college experience, I'm sure, was amazing. If that's why you're pushing them that way, it's because you had an amazing experience. But it might not be amazing for them. That might just not be their cup of tea. So this college can be a transformative experience, but only if you let them have their own. So this ties into not forcing them to go to your alma mater, not forcing them to join your Greek organization. Give them space to pursue their own activities and interests, their own passions, because they might end up totally different than yours. They may also end up the same, but at least then you know that they chose them for themselves rather than you choosing it for them. You can support them, listen to them, be excited for them, and they'll find their way. They always do. Okay, so that was number 3. We have 2 more that I want to cover, and they kind of are opposites, but yet very similar. First is visiting too often or visiting unannounced. You do not want to do this. I know that you are the center of their worlds right now, but they are going to make a life of their own, or at least that's the goal, right? We want them to become adults and start a new life, and or start their own life, we'll say. Visiting will hold them back from that. Of course, occasional visits are not only okay, but they make your student feel special, right? Most of the time. Showing up for homecoming weekend or something special, right? But keep it special. It should not be a regular thing, and it should definitely not be unannounced, okay? We'll just leave it at that. Okay, and then off of that, you also don't want them visiting you too much. So this is the last one, and that is, please do not let them come home constantly. I can personally attest to this. I saw students in my dorm when I was in college that went home every single weekend. Now, I was only 100 miles from home, so actually it wasn't too far for me. I went home maybe once a month or something like that, just to catch up, do some laundry, or my mom did laundry, get some good food, see old friends, whatever it was. But the rest of the month, I was there and I was engaged in the college experience. Those students who were leaving every weekend, they did not build relationships. They didn't get involved. They didn't feel connected. They didn't have time to do that. And also, they didn't push through those uncomfortable feelings of being away from home. And so a lot of those students didn't make it, in the sense that they transferred or they dropped out. or maybe they made it in the sense that they graduated, but they just weren't really happy, right? They didn't leave with a fun experience. So I just would, if you can, encourage your student to try to stay at the university as much as they can if they're staying away from home, or if they're living at home, maybe recommend, hey, instead of coming home in between each class, why don't you hang out and study there? Or why don't you get lunch on the campus? Why don't you join an activity and then come home? Something to keep them there a little bit longer so that they can meet people. The other thing off of this, and this is especially for graduate degrees, but same with undergraduate, the network that you build. I know some graduate programs actually that pretty much the whole program is all about just getting people to network because they know that is so important. That's the most important thing they're going to take from that degree. And so undergraduate is very similar. These are friends that they will keep for the rest of their lives probably, and the lessons they'll get from meeting all these people and making this effort. So again, try not to let them come home all the time. Now, for those of you that are in Debt Free Degree Lab, I mentioned it earlier, our monthly membership, we actually have a whole database of interviews with a college, teen, and young adult expert. She's a psychologist, a doctor, and she's also a motivational productivity and ADHD coach. So we have tons of specific interviews around this topic: how to teach your student to be an adult, how to give them independence, how to make them own the scholarship process, all of these skills that tie into this video. So if you're in there, make sure you check those out. They're under stage 1. If you are not, then you should get on the wait list. Doors are closed right now. We only open them up twice a year. But if you are interested, you can go to thescholarshipsystem.com/waitlist. You can also find all these links down below, including that free scholarship training I mentioned earlier. So that said, those are the 5 things we really recommend not doing with your students. Our goal is to equip you and your student to have a successful financial future, but also just a successful college experience in general. And if you can avoid these 5 things, I know your student will have just that much better of an experience throughout school, and it'll be worth the investment or the effort that we're going through in order to try and avoid that student loan debt. Now, I know it can be exciting to see them grow and change, and you want to be part of that, and you will be. But by doing these things, you will see them grow and change just so much more and for the better. Okay, they've got this. You've got this. Hang in there. And if you need support, comment below. There will be other parents that are watching this that are thinking, oh gosh, did I do that? They're with you, okay? So comment below if you have any concerns or questions. Feel free to. And again, don't forget to hit subscribe, because every single week we're releasing a new strategy for your family on the college experience and specifically on how to avoid that dreaded student loan debt. We'll see you there.